Have you ever wondered what therapy is like, or what your loved ones talk about when they are with their therapist? Well, now you can be a fly on the wall in a real therapy session, an unnoticed observer. During this episode, you'll hear a real group therapy session with a modern twist. Our group therapy sessions are done as a mock podcast where participants are encouraged to have open dialogue about their mental health and addiction challenges. As an observer of this episode, we hope that you will learn something helpful for those among us whose struggles often go unnoticed. All personally identifiable information has been removed for the privacy of the participants. Thank you for listening.
I like it. I actually once interviewed Tony Hawk. That was pretty cool.
You did
Join us, Barry.
I did. Tony Hawk was awesome. He has. I used to skateboard when I was a kid, and then I had a bad accident and cracked my head open, so I had to stop.
It's lit.
You didn't have to stop.
Well, I felt like I had to stop. I think my parents made me stop. What?
Scary.
It was traumatic.
It was bad. I also I couldn't do it again. After that, I lost my balance. I wasn't the same after that.
Okay, yeah.
But anyway, I talked to him about it and stuff. He was really cool. He has a place in San Diego that it's a compound that he built for skating, and it's the coolest thing ever. And that's where I interviewed him. I went there, and it was he showed me around his whole thing. It was awesome, and it came about such a weird way. He thought he knew me. I was at this event because my wife's a reporter, so I was at this event that she was reporting on, and I went along with her, and sitting at the table, I used to play Tony Hawk's video game when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's the game.
But there's a funny thing about Tony Hawk that I didn't even know this at the time, but nobody recognizes him in public.
Yeah.
And I am guilty of that too. So you never think you're sitting next to Tony Hawk. That's not a thought you ever have. So we're sitting at this table for this event, and someone's like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm a comedian." Oh, they're like, "Really cool." And then I'm like, "What do you do?" And they're like, "I'm in marketing or something." I'm like, all right. I'm like, "What about you?" And then he's like, "I'm a skateboarder." I'm like, "Yeah, but for a living, what do you do?" He's like, "No, I skateboard for a living." And then this woman whispered, but so loud that everyone could hear her to embarrass me. She's like, "That's Tony Hawk." I'm like, oh, shoot, that is Tony Hawk. I'm like, "Hey, what's up, Tony Hawk?" So he's like, "Hey, I know you, don't I?" Now I would know if I know Tony Hawk. You would know if you know. And I'm like, "No, I don't think so." He's like, "Yeah, I know you. I'm not wrong when I know somebody." I'm like, I can't argue with Tony Hawk, right? I'm like, "Yeah, maybe you do. I don't know." So he's like, "Yeah, how do I know you?" And then I'm like, "Well, maybe you know my brother, because my brother was working at a supermarket." And I'm like, "Yeah, my brother does vegan stuff at a supermarket in Venice. Maybe you know him. He looks kind of like me." He's like, "Yeah, definitely. I know who your brother is." I'm like, "Oh, cool." I'm like, "You want to do my podcast sometime?" He's like, "Sure." And he gave me his number and everything. He's like, "Hit me up, man."
That's sick.
So anyway, I called up. I'm like, tell my brother. I'm like, "Thanks so much, man. You hooked me up with Tony Hawk." He's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, he knows you from the supermarket job." He's like, "Tony Hawk has never come in here." He's like, "I would know if Tony Hawk ever came in. I don't know Tony Hawk." So anyway, I went and I interviewed him, and I'm like, at the end, I'm like, "By the way, thanks for doing this, but I don't know you, and my brother doesn't know you either." He's like, "Oh yeah, I was so weird that day. I don't know what was going on with me." He's like, he's like, also when I realized I agreed to do this interview, I was like, "What? Who's that guy? Why did I agree to that?" I'm like, "I don't know, but I'm glad you did." He's like, "No, you're cool, man." And he just showed me around his whole compound.
That's sick.
Yeah,
he was definitely just...
I don't know. I can only speculate, but he was really cool. I'm like, "Do you know how many times I beat the crap out of you in that video game? You should, you should be mad at me or something." I'm like, he's like, "No, man, everybody did that to me." He's like, "Yeah," he's like, "That's the thing when you're an avatar." He's like, people did stuff to me. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry.
You felt guilty about that? That's the first thing you told him? You're like...
I'm like, "Sorry about that. I probably killed you 100 times." I'm sorry. But that's cool that you skateboard. How long have you been skateboarding for?
8 years.
Nice. So how old are you now?
14.
Okay, I failed math. 6? Yeah. All right. Yeah. I started when I was 5, so but it didn't last too long. But don't break your head. Definitely don't break your head. That was a mistake.
The helmets are so ugly though. Like
Yeah,
I
don't use
I don't like
helmets.
helmets.
I just like put things on my
Like wait,
longboard.
when we do the
So
stand
I
up
gotta,
bike riding, they're gonna make us wear helmets.
You should definitely wear helmets.
We're not
As
talking
somebody,
wearing helmets bike riding. I know
as
how to
somebody
ride a bike.
who like had to have a
So
big
bad.
scar removed from his head, I am a big fan of helmets, even though they are
It
ugly.
was so ugly. What if they make
I
cute
wear a
ones?
helmet when I'm riding
Like,
horses.
you couldn't make that cute.
I had
You
like
can
3
make like a
surgeries.
latex one that like
Get
when
rid
you
of that.
fall has a like airbag.
That one looks so stupid.
Maybe I was supposed to be like a genius scientist, but I messed up my head when I was a kid, and like this is the best I could ever amount to.
Imagine.
Like
And then
maybe I
also-
think I'm doing well in life, but like if I wouldn't have had that skateboard accident,
In
like
an
I know,
alternate
like,
universe,
Or
you're just
not.
like,
Because
hello,
everything happens
dog,
for a
you're
reason.
no, I agree with that. You're right. No, I'm happy with where I'm at, and
Okay.
it sounds pretty boring to be a genius scientist for me.
same.
Right?
It's too much time indoors.
Ew.
Really, these are
Um,
fucking cheap.
Yeah, your job sounds like fun.
This is fun. I like it.
And you're a comedian. Comedians
Yeah.
are fun.
Yeah,
Stop.
I think so. So, what brings you here? Let's hear about your story, and then we want to be caught up on your story. But let's
Are we not gonna
do an interview. Where are you from originally?
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay, I've been there. You like it?
No.
It's pretty boring, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there's nothing going on. Is that also where they shot Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's one of my favorite shows.
that was a good show.
I love Breaking Bad. I love Jesse and Jane's relationship, but then
Mr. Wyatt, man.
yeah, and then freaking Jane ODs and what's his name?
Wow,
What's
we're
her
really
dad?
just spoiling it.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, are we-
I don't watch it.
Well, are you guys gonna watch it?
Mr.
Yeah,
I already
maybe.
You haven't
Probably
watched
not.
Breaking Bad
I
yet?
haven't been able to finish it.
That's tragic.
Yeah.
Well, that's something.
I don't want this to turn into like a name dropping thing, but just because it's random that this came up, I also know Aaron Paul, that guy who played Jesse from Breaking
Name
Bad.
drop.
He's the coolest guy.
I
My-
love him.
My best friend in the world's sister made a show, and he was the star of the show. It was called The Path on
Give me
Hulu.
his number.
So I used to hang
That
out.
one
with
is
him. He was
fun.
a really cool
Path?
guy.
Just
Yeah.
hot.
I think I've like scrolled and
Jesse's
seen it.
really
Right.
hot. Can we have a
I've
song?
never watched it,
Nope.
but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he was a really cool guy.
Can we have Jesse's phone number?
Yeah, I think he's really.
I don't know him anymore. He's just like
He
when he was
wanna
doing
hang
that
out with
show.
us. for
But I
a
know
fun
you
time.
still have his contact.
You still got Tony
I ain't
Hawk's?
letting that out. What?
You still got Tony Hawk's?
I do, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Let's call him up.
I'll tell you another cool thing about Tony Hawk. Like I think I told you guys I write comic books about my life.
Cute.
So I needed a quote for the back of my comic book. So after I interviewed him, I'm like, "Hey Tony Hawk, you want to give me a quote for the back of my comic book?" He's like, "Send it to me. I'll read it. If I like it, I'll give you a quote." So I did, and he did. He gave me a good quote.
What was it?
That sounds
Are you
like,
gonna-
I like it.
that sounds like a good guy.
Are you? That's it.
No, I don't remember exactly. Something along the lines that he liked it, but
How
then
do you
everyone's
not
like,
remember?
"How'd you get Tony Hawk to give you a quote for your comic book?" I'm like, "Well, he thought he knew me." Really crazy story, but yeah, that's how that all happened.
One time my mom was on the beach and the paparazzi jumped out of a bush and thought that she was like Jennifer Aniston.
Oh yeah.
And she was like, no, that's
You
not.
have it all wrong.
You have it completely wrong.
It's a pretty
I'm
funny
like, imagine
story.
she was
though.
like on the tabloids. Like, imagine she didn't tell them. That'd have been so
I
funny.
don't love it.
Leslie.
She should have gone for it.
I
Just
know.
let it happen. So
Jennifer
Albuquerque, New
Wilson.
Mexico, home of Breaking Bad and home of our buddy Bearings, who likes to skateboard. Is there a good skateboard scene there?
There's like a bunch of good skateboarders there. But like,
I don't know what the rest of that sentence is supposed to be. I'm not trolling you. I just don't know what you're saying.
What?
I don't know.
alright.
Did you guys get it? Am I the only one who
Who are
did?
you?
I got it.
What was it? What was it?
He meant that like there's some good skateboarders there, but like whatever.
What's
Yeah.
a skateboard?
Oh, okay.
Wait, who's the.
You're lying. I know you do this.
What do you mean you're not trolling him?
I mean, like, I was just not trying to like give him a hard time about it. Like, I just,
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys want to use that term?
No.
Oh, no.
Trolling's kind of like a 2015.
We say that how yanking your chain.
My wife and I use it a lot.
Your chain.
And bullying.
My wife's always like, "Stop trolling me."
I'm just.
But
Never mind.
all right, whatever. I'm also older than you guys, so a lot of my terms are outdated.
Obviously.
Here's one of them you can use. It slaps.
What?
It slaps.
What does it mean?
It slaps.
It slaps.
It's
Wait.
It's good.
slaps.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It
I
slaps.
feel like I'm your translator.
By the way, like also when you learn new terms when you're older, like you never know if you could trust them. Like you're like,
You can trust this one, I promise.
and also when you try to use them, you come and sometimes you feel stupid because you know it's not like how you speak. You know, so if I would be like, it slaps, people are like, what'd you just say? I'd be like, it slaps?
That was me when I said it's lit. And I'd be like, it's a Travis Scott reference.
That's
It's
such
lit.
You know someone's
It's
like,
lit. It's
don't
like
use
so old now. I feel like
Yes.
we feel like that's.
Well,
lit.
I say that
I'm like,
to
how
no,
about
I don't
you?
say it about things. I say it to people. I'd be like to my friend. I'd be like, "You're lit," or something.
What
Like,
I also
somebody's-
learned it's lit here years ago.
And
Lit?
yeah,
Years?
somebody's-
If
it's
someone's
like-
on lit, that means they're super.
Somebody was like,
Or there's another one, I'm a goat.
Yeah,
I'm a goat. I know
I
that
say
one.
I'm
What is
feeling.
lit?
Have you heard hype? Do people use that word, hype?
No.
No.
Ah, that's a throwback.
Oh.
People used to
Let's
say I
get
can
hype.
get them hype, and I'm like,
Yeah, like the
I
little
say
head man
hype.
that comes to the party like guys. And you're
I
like,
say it like
that's me.
his mom is my mom's hype man.
yeah,
We say that. Hype
because
man.
like on the
That's
speakerphone,
creepy.
her mom said something, and my mom was like, I was gonna say it, but then she said it, so then I was like, I'm just gonna hype this chick up. And I was like, good for you, mom. Glad you did.
Cool.
It was a cute mom moment.
It was cute.
It was like a high five through the phone.
All right, so I want to hear more about your story in Albuquerque.
Albuquerque sucks.
Okay.
Like, dry. We have like the biggest crime rate there. It sucks.
Because everyone's serial killers because there's nothing to do.
Yeah, because they're bored.
Because they're bored. Let's just stab a bunch of
Yeah.
Like, you know what I realized? Things that take off in boredom are crime and religion. Like,
Ew.
you know, whenever you're really bored, you either become really religious or really a criminal. Like, because there's like not much else to do. You just have to immerse yourself in
Or a
something.
drug addict.
Or you become a huge nerd about something like weird and
Oh my
specific.
God,
Or drug
my
addicts.
siblings.
That's
Right?
what I just
Disgusting.
What? What?
They are the nerds. Like they're
About what?
okay, let's say like you see a nerd with like glasses and stuff.
noob.
Like
You're
Like-
Please never say that to me
And
ever
like-
again.
likes to do weird things and a nerd. Just brings their Switch to school
That's
and
kinda
then their
judgmental.
DS. and
Okay,
their
I would
other
play
games.
Beyblade with the guy
And
who
they're-
brings
I
it
want
to
to,
school.
guys, one person at a time because I really can't hear.
They're
That's
like-
kind of judgmental.
That
They're
is
like-
very judgmental.
Yeah.
I'm offended.
Well, before you
I'm
guys be
gonna
judgmental
feel
of
like
what he's
this
saying
is
as judgmental, let's hear him out. You know what I'm saying?
And then they're like extra. They go extreme with it.
Like what?
Like what? Did you just ask me that question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah, you did.
did.
I know what he's like, what he means.
I mean, like, it's hard to explain, but like, they'll be out. Let's say we're just at a movie.
They would go out of their way to explain it to you, or out of their way to bring it up in a conversation.
Yes, out of their way.
So like,
Well, and that
Because
is
that's
all
their thing.
they talk about.
But that's their thing, you know?
Your thing. What is your
Like,
thing?
let's say,
What is your thing?
so if I got a
What is my
tattoo of
thing?
Tony Hawk, I would make sure I show everyone, like, do you see this? Do you see this? Do you see
Yes.
this? And then a ton of facts,
It's
just
disgusting.
for no
right?
reason. That's a noob. That's a nerd. Just
you see,
I feel
I
like
guess-
do you see this? Do you
I'm
see this?
saying
Just attention.
I guess the answer to your question is that I never had
That sounds
a
like
thing.
attention whore.
Until podcasting.
Like, I like podcasting, I'm big into podcasts, I'm big into comedy, but
Those
like,
are your things.
it's things. I don't have like a thing, you know? Like, I
But
get
you're not
into a lot
weird.
of different, I like
Do
cooking,
you
like,
know what a thing is?
It-
Something you enjoy a lot.
but
No,
I'm trying to make,
So
I'm trying to make a
incorrect.
point to you that like,
Is
some
your
people,
thing not fashion?
what?
no, I mean,
some people are honed in on one thing, right? Like, some people just have,
I'm
some people just have one
judging
thing.
Okay.
my thing's
You guys are all talking today, and I can't. I'm too ADD for that.
My bad.
I can't. People have one thing, and that's like their thing. You know, I've always kind of had my hands in many different things. Like I think that's also from being ADD. Like it's like I never, and I think it's to my detriment. Like I really think if I had just one thing, maybe I could have like been the expert in that thing in the world. But It's just not how I am. I'm like, oh, I like this, I like that, I like, and I don't know. I've never really
That's
had
how
one
I
thing to
Love
find.
everything.
Yeah,
Oh, go.
I like exploring different things. That's, you know, I really get bored on one thing pretty easily, and I just shift to another thing.
Have you done anything besides comedy?
Oh my god, it's like
That's
how
how
I'm a
legends
nerd
are
for
born.
essential oils.
What?
Legends are born to
And
they
stones, like
They
crystals.
love what they do. Like I love sports, but I
Yeah.
also love music, and I can put myself in both of them.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
And clothes
I
too.
feel that way too. Like, yeah. See, so once it expands, then it's also closed, and it's also. I've done a lot of things to answer your question besides comedy.
Yeah.
Cool.
But comedy's the thing I've definitely done the longest. I've done it for 17 years.
Oh
So.
wow.
Have you
How
met
is
Joe?
that not your thing?
Have you met Joe Rogan?
We
yet?
met Jeff
I've
Dunham.
done, yeah.
Do you know Bert Kreischer?
Yeah.
You know
I
him?
know all the people you name.
I love Bert. We
We-
watched him on Netflix.
I
Yeah.
like Jeff Dunham
I used
and his terror.
When in doubt, spread them out.
Big boy. Yeah, when in doubt, spread him
Can
out.
you do like
Hey,
a comedy show?
What's it
Make
called?
some jokes?
Hey, big boy.
Not here. They wouldn't want me to do that.
Bert
Here. Anyway,
Kreischer.
it's not what I'm paid to do here. But
That's really funny that
when you get out of here, you could YouTube me. You
Okay.
can see some of my stuff.
Shark Man on YouTube.
Yeah, wait, do you have like...
Yeah.
It's old. I think it's all kind of old, but it's still old.
Did you do stand-up and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like online?
Yeah.
That's really fun. I want to see.
Hope you like it. If you don't,
I feel like I will, because you're just like a funny guy.
Yeah.
thank you.
Hope you like it.
So, anyway, back to boring Albuquerque and your life of skateboarding there. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Half brother.
Half brother on your
Is that the
mom's
mom's?
side.
I think so, yeah.
So older or younger?
Younger.
So you live
He's
with
really
a stepdad?
No, I don't have a stepdad.
Okay, so tell your story. I want to hear it.
Mom was on drugs. My mom wanted to cheat, had a child. Done. And then that guy left.
And what about your dad? Where's he in the picture?
I tried to cut him out.
Okay, why?
I don't want him there.
I don't know anything about him, so you're telling me like I would know. But
Like, highly abusive.
verbally, physically, both. And since as far back as you can remember, or it changed when like your mom cheated on him, or what?
Last year.
So only since last year?
Yeah.
So he was totally cool till last year?
Yeah. Until, like, my little half-brother came around.
So yeah, so when your mom had a kid, like your dad just went off the deep end. You're
Yeah.
saying.
Like, they got divorced first.
Yeah.
And then, like, they both kept just hooking up, breaking up. And, like, it's bad. So,
And your mom's on drugs, you said.
not anymore.
She was.
Yeah.
And what's your dad's like? What's his story? What does he do for a living?
Plumber.
A plumber. And your mom, was she working at all, or
CNA.
a what?
Nurse, basically.
Oh, a nurse. Okay. What did you say the first time?
CNN.
CNA.
Oh, okay.
Sierra Night.
Okay. I thought you said ceiling. I'm like, your mom's a ceiling. I don't get that.
Maybe so.
I'm like, there's some terms that are new and some terms that just make no sense.
So
Like, there's nobody who's a ceiling. That doesn't make sense. Or if she was like a Navy SEAL, I was like, she's out sealing, doing.
Imagine. That'd be so badass.
Or she just seals stuff for a living. She's just sealing. Okay, so she's a nurse. And was she like hooked on drugs that she was getting as a nurse? Like,
Well, like, well, like, both my parents were, like, heavily on meth, so I don't really know everything about it, so.
Is that how they met?
Yeah, my mom only dated him for drugs, basically, what she told me, so.
It'd be like that.
Yeah.
What?
It'd be like that.
It'd be like that, literally.
So, are you here because of drugs?
Yeah,
And was it also meth?
and I'm not on meth.
Okay, so what was it?
Okay. Adderall, weed,
We love
hydros. That's all that I can think of right now.
What was the one before hydros?
Lean?
I don't know what that is.
Oh,
It's
I
not
said
drugs.
lean
It's like
before I
this.
It's
came
like
here.
cough syrup and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh.
No,
It's
it's
like
not
it's
cough
codeine.
syrup. No,
It's codeine.
Codeine.
and it's super sweet and yummy.
So when did you get it? When did you start doing drugs?
I don't put it with
Uh,
Just kidding.
I think So, like, I've always vaped for a long time, but I started getting into them, like, last year or the year before that, I think.
So around the time that your mom cheated and got pregnant?
Oh, no. That happened back when I was, like, in 2nd grade.
Oh.
Yeah. Now I just decided to live with my mom because she's 20 times better than my dad.
Okay. So your dad stayed with your mom, I guess, then, and
They got back together somehow. I don't know how.
then they got divorced a year ago.
No, they got divorced, like, a long time ago. But it's confusing between them.
They got divorced, but they kept hooking up and getting like back together.
Yeah.
I got that part. Yeah.
It's been like that.
But when you say your dad kind of turned on you a year ago.
Oh yeah, that's because he started liking my little half brother more than me, and then we started getting into fights. And
The one who's not his child.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said that he
What?
started, like, getting.
He's not the father of
Because
his
of-
half brother.
No, I understand, but I'm asking.
No,
like,
not because of that. He
what
likes
the
me.
hell? That.
Oh.
Good question. so like he started getting close with your half brother and not you.
So yeah, that's like when I started going to drugs. I was like, all right, screw it. And then he started getting mad at me, and like, so like I wouldn't defend for myself at all. I'd just be like, all right, bye, and I would just leave sometimes. And then I would fight back like a lot. Like I would not care. So there's been like bad times where we got in fights with me and my mom and him.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Hell
No,
yeah.
I'm a.
Oh, you.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, how did you wind up here? Did you come here on your own? Did they send you here?
My mom forced me,
Your mom forced you.
and I kind of wanted to go too.
Did you say, Mom, you did kind of want to go?
Kind of.
So let me hear about that.
I just want to go because, like, Cali, and I didn't want to be at my house at all.
A change of scenery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You wanted to get away from it.
Yeah.
So, what about in terms of being sober? Do you want to, or are you kind of just going along with it? Where are you at with it?
I mean, it's like a second
Withdrawal. Lots of withdrawal, but it's fine.
What are your hopes of being here? Is it just to get away, or do you want to actually like get clean?
Yeah.
I'm not. They'll tell you. I'm not making a judgment on you.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand you. Like.
Well, like, yeah, but, like, right now I've just been withdrawing from, like, everything, so I'm not really sure. So, yeah.
It's a tough situation. I mean, like, you come from a family with drug use history, right? So,
Yeah.
like, it's like, is there a part of you when your mom is like, you're going to rehab, you're doing drugs, that you're like, you're telling me that, Mom? Like, with all the drugs and stuff you've done?
Yeah, I've done. There's been like that, too.
How do those conversations go?
Oh, those conversations aren't good, usually, because she'll be like, yeah, but I'm off them, you're on them, and I'll be like, but you did even worse. Like, you can't really talk crap about me, so, yeah.
Can I share something?
Yeah.
So Russell was here yesterday, and he works at he does long NA meetings, and something that really sticked with me is that when you're like a kid of an addict, sometimes it gets passed down from generations. So in my situation, it's grandparents alcoholics, and then my mom, but he says that to be that generation that stops it.
Yeah.
So when you're older and when you have kids, to just put them into a world without drugs, and my mom did that with alcohol, and it's just I thought it was I don't know, it's just good to keep in mind, even if you don't get clean here, just always think ahead in the future. It's always really
Sorry, I'm
My-
trying to poke holes.
So
my
the
mom used drugs too, but just because your parents used or are using doesn't mean you have to. You can be the responsible one, the mature one, and that sucks. But sometimes that's the way it is, and you can make your life 100 times better.
Yeah.
Period.
No, I went.
What?
Nothing.
From me?
No, I said I was gonna poke holes, but I'm saying never
Poke
mind.
holes in what?
Nothing. That's what I'm saying.
Like,
Never mind.
Where'd it come from?
Did no one hear me?
You said poke holes, and I was like, what? And you were like, never mind. And I was like,
Like poke holes in what?
in what I said?
Yeah.
What did I say?
I said never mind because I knew I was wrong.
Oh.
Okay. Moving on.
Target running.
Drop it. I didn't get any of what just went down.
Okay,
Nobody
We
did. It's
figured it
okay.
out.
No one
I said I was gonna poke holes. She started talking, so I waited to the end.
Yeah.
But then what they were saying was good, so I was like, I don't need to.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. That makes sense.
Cool. Neat.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it made sense too. I think it's good. It's definitely good.
It's just
Way
a
to
nice
look at it.
opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, you're not defined by your family. It's just to expound on what they're saying. It's like you are your own person. You don't have to like repeat their mistakes. You don't have to like. I think that
Live in Albuquerque.
it's a huge mistake that we sometimes make, that we think like, oh well, I'm just gonna be like my parents because like I'm not gonna achieve more than them. I'll possibly achieve less, but I'm not gonna achieve more, or like. And it's just a fallacy. It's not true. Everybody's on their own journey. It's people take on all these ideas of like genetically I am like this. Like I used to do it too with my dad, and I had issues I can't legally talk about because of the ramifications of this job. I can't get into certain specifics. But when I was a kid, I had similar kind of things with my dad that what you're describing.
Yeah.
And I used to think, well, that's it. If I ever become a dad, I'm just going to be the same exact way. It's just part of me. Like
Now you have your
I have a kid, and it's like I'm doing it totally my way, totally different. And you either become it or you learn from it.
Yeah.
And that's your choice. Like, there's learned behavior that certain things are become instinctual to you. Like you see how your parents react to stress or anxiety. And you mimic that when it comes your way. And then you operate off of this fallacy that, oh, they act that way when this happens. I kind of act like that when it happens. That's just how we are. It's not true. It's just that that's what you learned. Now it's up to you to go out there and see a better way. I remember I remember when my wife and I moved to LA and we had these neighbors. And we became friends with them. And they had 3 little kids when we met them, but then they had a 4th kid. So they had 4 kids. And they used to have us over for dinner sometimes. And they were like the healthiest, they still are, but they moved, right? But they were like the healthiest family I'd ever seen. Like just the way they interacted with their kids. Just like when the kids would like act out how they dealt with it. Like how that house was just like so much not what I grew up with. And I was just like, oh, there's a better way. Like you kind of know it, but until you see it, like we learn from watching, it's learned behavior. Like it's why we make so many of the same mistakes as our parents, is because we're being programmed, whether we realize it or not. They are programming us. And when you have the same programming that has certain flaws that lead to things happening, unless you go in there and change the programming, like you're just going to fall into this, like learn this behavior. Oh, by the way, this behavior will lead to you doing drugs. Well, the person who taught you that behavior wound up doing drugs, right? So it's just like, oh, I'm copying a lot of their stuff and it's leading me exactly to the same place as it led them. But it's not locked in the programming. Like that's the big freaking lie that we tell ourselves, You're not programmed once and set for life. It's not set and then forget it, like that's like an old reference to it you won't get. But there used to be this guy who would sell rotisserie chicken machines on TV, and he'd be like, it's so easy. You just set it and forget it. And then they got sued because people's houses kept going up in fire. And then they put a big disclaimer on the box: set it and forget it is not to be taken literally. Do not set it and forget it. Keep an eye when the thing is cooking, or it could catch fire. I always thought that was funny because set it and forget it doesn't work with anything. Even like when you come to rehab and you learn all these coping mechanisms, which you will hopefully learn, and you'll talk to people and rehab counselors and therapists and breathing people and horses. I don't know if you talk to the horses, but you get the idea. You get the idea, right? You learn all these things, but when you leave here, it's not like set it and forget it. When you leave here, if you don't continue to practice this stuff, you will go back to like your default programming that you've had for many years.
Right back.
Welcome back, which leads us to good to see you again. What's your new name now?
Harley.
Harley. So Harley, fill me in on what happened.
So I stayed sober for a good like over 60 days, like around 60 and 90. But meetings weren't open, so of course I wasn't.
Corona.
Yeah, of course I wasn't going. I was in quarantine. And I was doing this IOP group, which there I really realized that, like, because I didn't meet these kids in person, so I'm like, when I pulled up, I was already in recovery, like, I was already sober, like, fresh out of rehab. Like, all of these kids are talking about, like, oh, like, I'm just, like, there's always still using, like, they're in this program, they're getting drug tested all the time, but they're still using, and they just keep talking about it, and I'm like, why the hell am I, I'm like, why am I here if,
you can
like,
say help, by the way.
Okay, I'm like, why am I here if, like, I did all this shit and I'm just, like, back at the bottom? So it really didn't help that I wasn't in, like, a recovery IOP, more like, it just took me back to my prior self, and then I ended up relapsing because I hung out with, like, this really cute guy, and I didn't want to seem like, a whip.
Yeah.
I didn't want to seem like a noob.
I see a square.
Yeah,
I
you
see
are.
a square.
You had kind of like gotten to a place where you were more advanced than the people you are now with, and instead of like
I was cocky about it, and my ego really took over. But since I was just like at home all the time, like around it, and then I realized actually like after me and my ex we broke up. But it wasn't because of that. I wasn't really paying attention about that. I was just like, oh, I'm gonna get high with this really hot guy. Like,
right.
Okay. And I started getting super depressed, but I wasn't self-medicating. And I would only like smoke with friends, or I'd be drinking with friends. But I would always come home under the influence. And my mom would be like, are you this? I'm like, nope. I go back to my room. And then one night she breathalyzed me and all of this, and I was like, you know, that shit went down. I'm sorry. It went down, and I got like suicidal ideations because I was under the influence. Like, you shouldn't I shouldn't be coming home under the influence, but I also shouldn't be arguing with a sober person under the influence because that I just sound so dumb. And then my mom, I just wasn't like telling her what was up, and she was like, you're so sad all the time, you're not interested in anything, like, you don't even tell me what's going on. My fear was if I told her that I was sad, I would be sent right back here, and she was like, you're going back to Malibu because you're not telling me shit.
Well, and here you are.
Yeah.
But you have a good level of self-awareness about how it all went down, and that's good. I mean, that's really...
Yeah.
I
feel like I'm more mature this time, but like, also, I really need to process stuff that I just haven't been processing, like trauma and stuff like that, because that really, like, you know, it really drags along.
I remember, not this rehab, but I worked at another rehab. It's a crazy story. I was working with this person for like a long time, and he was doing great, getting sober, got sober, went out to live his life, never see anybody again once they leave rehab. Why would I? But then I get hired like a year later to do a comedy show at somebody's mansion in Beverly Hills to do stand-up. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm there. I'm doing this at somebody's birthday party. It was a weird gig, but I made it work. That's not part of the story, but I sometimes add to my details. But anyway, so after the gig, I'm walking around. They're like, hang out, you know, party's going on, have, you know, barbecue, whatever. I see this kid who was in the rehab with me for like a long time.
Wait, you went to rehab?
No, I worked in another rehab. I worked with him. And I knew that, you know, I helped him get sober. In the way that I help you guys, I help a little bit. I'm part of it, you know. And I see him, and he's smoking a joint. And I'm like, you know, I don't want to like embarrass him. I can't say anything. It's all confidential what happens here. I'm just like, you know? So he's like, hey, you know, so I'm walking around and I'm leaving, and then he like runs up to me and he pulls me aside. He's like, I can't, man. He's like, I had it going, I was doing great for a long time, but just like being around friends, and then they want to, you know, get high, and I just don't want to look, it's kind of like your situation. He's like, I just don't want to look like, you know, I'm not down, so, and he's like, my life is like kind of hell right now. He's like, I wish I was back in rehab with you. He's like, I look like I'm having fun out there, but I'm really not.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wish I could do something for you. Like, I'm not like, there's something I can do. I'm like, get yourself back in a rehab. I don't know whatever happened to him. I hope he's okay. But like, we all know that happens, what you described, but I've seen it. Like, I saw it, and like, it hurt me in my heart. Like, when he came up to me, like, I wasn't gonna say anything to him, you know? Like, I was just like, I felt so bad. It's just like, just don't be that person when you get out of here, like, next time. Like, just remember, like, that, like, I could see that he was suffering. Like, I knew how happy he was when he left rehab. Like, I know that this happens to people. And like I told him, I'm like, you know, try and get back into rehab. If not, just like, remember that you can get back up. But if you're like gonna keep hanging around people that it's like part of the social thing to do drugs, I mean, who do you expect to be? Like, who's so above that like maybe 1 time, 2 times, even 10 times you could be around it. But if you're an addict and you work really hard on getting yourself clean, like, and you hang around those people, you know you're doomed, right? Like, you know that's not gonna work out. Eventually, you're not gonna change them. What are you gonna do? Teach them everything you learned? Change them all? You know, like, all of a sudden you guys become like a sober bunch of friends? Like, it's just not gonna happen. You have to know that is, like, if you put yourself around people who are still in it, you're gonna wind up back in it. Like, you can't. You just can't. It doesn't work. What's up? You guys are laughing about something probably unrelated.
You're just breathing super hard.
So anyway, I sympathize with what you said, and I understand, and it's fairly common. And you put yourself in that situation, you're gonna look. Not everybody who does drugs is an addict. I'm not advocating for people to do drugs, right? But not everybody's an addict. Some people have no idea the pain that doing drugs is going to cause you.
Like, stuff like that.
Yeah, a little bit.
But also, like, Rihanna's also successful, like, extremely successful, like, businesswoman and stuff, too. So I feel like it's kind of
Like, I don't even know what Rihanna's real life is like compared to what they perceive it to you in the public. Like,
yeah.
There's a lot of people that work on an image, you know, that's presented to you. I know this from being in show business a lot. Like, so much of what you think these people are is not true. Like, a lot of it is manufactured, and it's smoke and mirrors, you know? People who are really successful and you think they're doing drugs all the time, they're probably not. They're probably doing it for a photo shoot or like some, you know, just to seem cool. But generally, like, they're mostly like real like business sharks. What I found, like they're just they're not chilled out at all in any way. Like,
Wait,
like,
no, Snoop Dogg is though.
Snoop
Dogg better be.
I don't know Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
I really don't know Snoop, but I'm not.
You should interview.
I'm not going to name names, but I can tell you that a lot of people that you think are one way are not that way.
Can you tell me who?
No, I just said no.
Yeah, wait, but you can't say that and not tell us.
Okay, Bert.
Look, a lot of people.
Berkeley
It's
smoking
perception, you know. It's show business. It's like magic.
Wait.
Like it's like you. It's an illusion. You think you go to a magic show. You know they're not really doing magic. You know they didn't just pull a dove out of nowhere. That dove, was somewhere. It was in their sleeve. It was wherever. They didn't just make a dove happen out of thin air.
Is Jeff Dunham cool?
I love Jeff Dunham.
The terrorist puppet's my favorite.
He was really nice. Really nice.
That's cool.
I've been watching him since I was in the cradle. Like, literally, my parents
Do you,
would
like,
turn
know
on
Bert, like,
and I'd be like,
personally?
yay.
He's so cool.
I'm just trying to explain to you that, like,
I
it's
get
all
it.
illusion.
Yeah.
A lot of life is illusion. Like, it's like that in so many. Sometimes, like, people in power try to make you feel comfortable that things are okay or whatever, that's an illusion too. They're probably a mess, you know, like just to keep the public calm. Whatever it is, like it's all an illusion. Like, not everything. I'm not trying to make you into conspiracy theorists, but like, a lot of what's presented to us is marketing.
Preconceived.
It's just marketing. They market people. They market personalities. They market everything to you. And like, I remember when I saw it up front, and I was like, people who I thought were one way weren't a totally different way. And I was just like heartbroken because I was young and idealistic and like naive, and I was just like, but I thought that this person, like, I looked up to that, and then it's just like, nah.
Even stuff on YouTube is kind of like that too. Like, you'll see like a lot of people, like, I remember watching Kylie Jenner get ready with James Charles, and like, it's just like funny because it's like, even on there, like, I mean, you're still to an extent showing like you're still portraying something, but even there, like, Kylie's just like more like laid back and just like chilling, you know what I mean? Where she's like not like high energy or anything like that.
Right. Or it's like somebody's like, act like you're hanging out, act like you're chilling. Sometimes they have an earpiece in their ear. Yawn now. Like, it's all manufactured. Most of it is. I mean,
I don't want to know that. I don't enjoy reality TV shows.
What?
I'm fine with being manufactured.
Yeah, I mean, once you know it, it's not so bad. It's just like, also, I grew up in a time when they kept it much better hidden from people. Nice meeting you.
Yep. Where is he going?
Urgent
care?
Dr. Poo-Poo.
Going with urgent.
I called the psychiatrist Dr. Pastrami.
In front of Lucy.
In front of Lucy.
What's the real name?
Rahami. And I literally, I said it so serious. She was like, Rahami. And I was like, I don't care.
Dr. Mommy Pastrami.
Going to urgent care. One session
Steve's such a good.
So anyway, the reason I bring up that whole thing about illusion is like, if you think like, the problem with the whole illusion is that it does make people think like you said about Rihanna, like, yeah, Rihanna's functioning great, she's smoking weed and this and that. She's probably not smoking weed. She's probably, you know, working like crazy on choreography and lyrics. And anyway, we only have a few minutes left, but
This is my last
Tell Bert to pull up.
I want to take I was just going to say the rest of the time I want to take to talk about Lil Y. And Lil Y, like, I'm really sad you're leaving. I feel like you've been here forever. I'm sure that you've been here for a long time, right?
She came the day I left.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
How
crazy.
long ago was
And
that?
I met her.
89 days ago as of Friday.
Oh my god.
So, I'm gonna say something, and then we're all gonna go around and share a memory and a compliment with Lil Y, and that's how we'll end this group. We have 5 minutes. We have 5 people. I think we'll be okay. So, Lil Y, there's a lot to say, but first of all, I remember, like, maybe it wasn't your first group, but one of your first groups, you were sitting like on top of drawers. Do you remember that?
Yeah, on the dresser.
Yeah, and I just remember you looked so miserable that day. Like, the first few times you were in my group, you just looked so, like, at your wit's end type of thing. Like, you just looked like, I was just like, wow, this girl, like, I don't know what her life is out there, but it took an effect on her. Like, you just were so, you looked hurt. I don't know how to put it. Like, and I felt it. Like, when I was like talking to you and you were sitting on top of those drawers, like your whole body was closed off. I remember that. Like, your head was down. And like, anytime I talked to you, you would just like lift your head up and just like answer for like a second, and then you would just like coil back into yourself. That's like my early memory of you. And it's just like now, I can't even imagine you doing that. Like, I feel like you'd have to.
Me either. I don't remember doing that.
I just feel like you'd have to act to do that now. I mean, that's the level of transformation that I've seen from you here. It's pretty impressive, I have to say. Like, and you weren't like, not only did you not seem happy back then, but just like, I didn't get the feeling that you were like very friendly back then. You know?
I don't resting.
And
face.
not, I don't think you do. And I feel like you're like the friendliest person in the world now. Like as soon as I walk in, you're always like the first one to come up to me and be like, "Hey, what's up?" And like, it's just incredible to see. Like this is you. Like this is the real you. And like whatever happened to you out there, and we've talked about some of it, that brought you in. Don't go back to being that person. Because like, I really like the smiley, happy, friendly, outgoing, laid back sometimes, laughing, Lil Y. Like, you're awesome.
Thank you.
And this is you. This is like the real you. This is like you when all the bad stuff is stripped away and you can just be you. This is you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You guys feel what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm amazed. Like, if you could go back and meet that person on top of the drawers, I feel like you would shake her and be like, "Stop! It's gonna be okay."
I'd
Like,
slap her. Like, put your head up.
right? And I remember it took you a while to break out of that. Like,
I literally don't remember that.
I mean, that was the worst of the days that I saw you like that. But like, it was a
It
while
was
before like
kind
your
of
personality started coming out in this group, and like you became this person. And like, you're awesome.
Thank you.
You're really great, and I think today was like a perfect example of who like you are when you were telling Bearings what you were saying about like that led to that whole conversation about parents and reprogramming and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That I don't remember the exact comment that you made, but I remember like the gist of it was very optimistic and very positive, and it actually changed Blue's opinion about what he was going to say. It was, I think that's really kind of sums up, that's my compliment to you. It's just like, you flip things in a positive way for people. And I'm super impressed that that's what you, like, I could have never guessed when you first came in that you'd be doing that.
Thank you.
But I would say stay with your optimism. Stay with, like, believing in the best in people and believe in the best in yourself. You know, always work off of the benefit of the doubt. It's good advice for everybody, but I think it's, like, especially poignant in you, because when you're working from a place of benefit of the doubt in people, like, you're happy, you're chill, you're laughing, you're relaxed. Like, I mean, that's
Yeah, absolutely.
the biggest change I've seen. And I would say focus on more of that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
it's been great working with you here.
Thank you.
All right.
Well. Definitely, you're just like, you were the first person to greet me when I came here, and like, besides Bree, but like, you know, and I was just like, at first I thought, I have nothing in common with this chick, but I was like, but I love her energy, and then the more we just like hung out together, I'm like, I literally love her, like, she's just like amazing to be around. And like, I found like we actually do have a lot in common. Like, our humor is like the same, everything's the same, and like, you're super spiritual like me, and like, you like love the universe and you love people. You're a people person, like, and like, you can just instantly tell, you know. And I don't know, I just like really, really, really vibed with you, and you've been like my best friend here, and I'm like super excited that you get to like be free because you've been here for so long, but I'm also selfishly sad because I'm like, I'm gonna miss like my best friend, and like, yeah, and I'm excited to like be able to hang out outside of here and stuff because you want to move out to LA too next year, which is when I graduate too, even though you're way ahead of me at 16. But yeah, and then a compliment would definitely be that I think you really try your hardest, and you definitely worked this program to the bone. And I think that you like showed them like, kind of like that you can be like you don't, like, I feel like a lot of people here fake a lot of things to get out sooner, and you're just like so real with it. And I don't know.
Is that something you want to emulate? Is that why you're saying it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, I mean, I feel like she's like always saying like, if you work the program, like, it'll work you, like, or whatever. That's not how you say it, but like, I'm just stupid. but
No, that's
No,
what
you're
I
not
accidentally
stupid.
said
That's
that. And
good.
you're like, see what I meant to say? What I wrote was, if you work the program, it'll work for you, but I said it'll work you.
it won't work you, but it will work for you. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. Steve, oh, you're up.
Oh, Grace. Let's hear what he's got to say.
F you for leaving, but also, yeah, you're leaving. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I mean, I guess you have grown a lot because I could not see you doing what he was talking about whatsoever. That would, it like didn't add up in my head. I was like, she actually did that. I was like,
Isn't that amazing?
yeah, just effing crazy. Yeah, when I got here, we weren't exactly what one may call friends. That would not be the word that you would use. I came in and I was like, you're going to regret your face tats. I think that's the first thing I said to you.
And then I was in an argument with someone, and then you said something that was like, you just like not in line, and I was like, stay in your place. And then you got mad at me. That was like our first conversation.
But yeah, kind of just like constant beef.
Do you think you'd still say that as your first thing if you came in tomorrow? Do you think you're still that person who would like?
Me?
Yeah.
I just didn't think I was being mean. I was like, you should probably get those removed, but it sounded really bad.
Not a great opening.
You're also sex trafficking tag, so kind of missed that one. But
I feel like you know now that probably wouldn't be the way to
Love
endear
sex.
yourself to people.
Yeah, no, I don't even know what I was thinking.
Continue.
But like, we haven't really gotten down to like the gnarly of it like that much. Well, not really. We never really talked about anything super serious. It was just kind of like either fighting or joking. But like, you did kind of teach me a lot about how to handle stuff with my sister, because you guys are pretty similar, and my opinions of her are irrelevant right now.
How? Can you tell me briefly? Like,
I literally will smack you.
They're
You're
like
so
the
bad
same
at this.
person.
all right, compliment.
You want to know what he calls the sister?
What?
His bitch sister.
All right.
No,
I gotta wrap it. So quick compliment.
no, but like, yeah,
We'll get to you guys. Don't worry.
But yeah, you put a lot of effort into being here, which is a very good thing. Like, a lot of people are just unwilling to do that, especially in a treatment facility like you said.
Beachside Teen Treatment Center is a tranquil rehabilitation haven for adolescents struggling with addiction, substance abuse, and co-occurring mental health disorders. Our beautiful residential facility is based in Malibu, California, with panoramic views of the Pacific Ocean. Embodying the key principles of mind-body health, our individualized and diverse treatment plans provide wholesome living in a mostly unplugged and small group environment. We aim to cater to each client's physical, emotional, mental, psychological, and nutritional needs. Beachside Teen Treatment Center provides the ultimate balance of a state-of-the-art facility with professional staff and health programs. Healing is accelerated when all states of being are nurtured. At Beachside Teen Treatment Center, we make it a priority to ensure that your loved one receives the highest standard of professional care in a safe, home-like environment. With all of the indoor comforts and amenities, as well as an outdoor expansive natural settling. Your loved one is our priority, and we aim to provide a healing environment that is multi-layered and multifaceted. In order to ensure that recovery is complete, deep-rooted, wholesome, and long-lasting, Beachside Teen Treatment Center is a tranquil rehabilitation haven for adolescents struggling with addiction, substance abuse, and co-occurring mental health disorders. Our beautiful residential facility is based in Malibu, California, with panoramic views of the Pacific Ocean. We accept most major insurances, including United Healthcare, Cigna, and Aetna. For more information about Beachside Teen Treatment Center, call 888-620-3896 today. That was an Unnoticed Observer, your window into group therapy, done in mock podcast format, led by therapists. Every episode covers a new theme on mental health. We hope this gives insight and guidance on whatever it is you may be needing to hear. Unnoticed Observer grants access to real therapy sessions from outpatients of all types. If you or someone you love is struggling with any mood, behavioral, or personality-related matters, there is help.